Welcome back. In this video, I'm excited to share some essential concepts that will help you maximize your results from this memory training program. We'll simplify these concepts into 4 steps. Jim Kwik, the author of Limitless, refers to this approach as the FAST method. As we discuss this method, I'd like you to write down these 4 essential concepts from the FAST model, which will significantly enhance your ability to learn and retain information. The first letter in FAST represents forget. This might initially seem a bit perplexing since, after all, I'm here to help you improve your memory, so why would I encourage you to forget? Sometimes individuals struggle to fully understand a subject or learn a skill because they think they already know it. Have you ever found yourself in a college class, like the one you're currently taking, and wondered if it's just a waste of your time? Maybe you felt like you would never have to use what you're learning, or you feel confident in areas like time management, decision making, and stress reduction. You might even catch yourself thinking, why am I in this class when I've been doing these things my whole life? This attitude can hinder your learning experience, since it discourages your brain from dedicating the necessary effort to learn and remember new information, or expand your understanding of a subject. When you think you already know enough, you're less likely to want to learn more about the subject. Consequently, your brain may decrease the production of the neurotransmitters that are essential for learning and memory. So, I would like you to temporarily set aside your existing knowledge of this topic and embrace the opportunity to discover something new. In the practice of mindfulness, the concept of forgetting is often referred to as the beginner's mind. This idea emphasizes approaching each situation as though you're experiencing it for the first time, free from any preconceived judgments or biases. Embracing a beginner's mind is essential because if your mind is already filled to the brim, your cup is full. So there's little to no room for new learning. Any new ideas will simply overflow or spill, so you will not retain the information. To learn new information, you need to empty your cup, creating a space for new knowledge. This is what embodies the beginner's mind. This means it's important to approach all learning with an open mind. Think of your mind as a parachute that functions best when it's open. As you progress through this class, embrace each topic with fresh eyes and a willingness to explore new experiences. Treat every lesson as if it's the very first time you're encountering it, and always remember to keep an open mind. When it comes to training your memory, you may have heard that the most effective way to learn and retain information is through repetition, a technique commonly known as rote memorization. While repetition and review are undeniably crucial, they merely represent the beginning of the journey. It's not solely about how often or how long you study, since intensity also plays a key role. So, I'll be here to help you boost the intensity for better memory retention. Now, forgetting also means temporarily forgetting about distractions. This means removing any distractions that may divert your focus from learning. Make sure to put away your cell phone and turn off social media notifications to avoid interruptions while studying. Eliminating distractions is crucial because our brains aren't wired to juggle multiple cognitive tasks effectively. Studies on multitasking have shown that we lose valuable time, compromise our ability to learn or remember information, and increase the likelihood of making more mistakes. If that's not convincing enough, multitasking also drains our mental energy. Have you ever found yourself dealing with brain fog or feeling mentally drained? It's a common experience. One of the culprits behind this mental fatigue is multitasking. When you constantly switch from one task to another, your brain has to work harder and ends up using more glucose, which is fuel for your brain. You're essentially consuming your mental energy at a faster rate. So let's make it a point to concentrate entirely on what you're learning in the moment. During our time together, you can do this by eliminating any distractions that might derail your focus from this crucial memory training. If something you need to address suddenly pops into your head, go ahead and jot it down. Writing it down is better than trying to ignore it. Resisting will only make it linger. As the saying goes, what you resist persists. Trying to ignore it will only make it stronger. So, capture it on paper instead. Finally, I want you to forget about your limitations. But what does that really mean? Many students tend to hold on to fixed notions about their abilities and what they can achieve, often limiting themselves with thoughts like, I can't do this, that's too difficult, or it's just not possible. This negative thinking can become a barrier to your success. As you engage in this memory training program, I encourage you to set aside any judgments you have about your limitations. I'll ask you to embrace new limitless possibilities by letting go of your current limitations, at least for now. Keep in mind that if you keep telling yourself, I struggle with remembering technical terms like anatomy, it will hinder your ability to learn and remember what is being taught in class. This is because your beliefs shape your mind. So you need to reset your mindset to unlock your true potential. Let's take a moment to recap what we learned so far. What does the F in FAST stand for? That's right, it means forget. But what exactly should we be forgetting? First, forget or set aside what you think you already know about a topic. This creates more space in your brain to absorb and retain new information. Next, forget or eliminate distractions so that you can focus on a single task. Single mindfulness or focused attention helps you save time, minimize mistakes, and preserve your mental energy. Finally, forget or let go of any self-imposed limitations. Embrace the possibility of growth that exceeds your greatest expectations by forgetting your limitations. Let's move on to the next letter in FAST. The letter A stands for active. It's important to understand that learning and remembering are not activities you can simply watch from the sidelines. Said differently, learning and remembering are not spectator sports. They require your active participation. The problem is that school often gives us the impression that learning is a spectator sport. You see, traditional education often assumes that students can absorb knowledge simply by sitting in class and listening to lectures, without any active engagement. Here's a little secret. The human brain thrives with engagement rather than passive learning. In other words, the human brain absorbs knowledge more effectively when we actively participate. When I say this, I mean that you are not maximizing your learning potential by simply sitting back and passively absorbing information from a lecture, audiobook, or podcast. Your brain learns better and more effectively when you're actively involved and participating in the learning process. What you invest in your learning journey will directly influence what you gain from it. In other words, what you put in is what you get out. The more you immerse yourself and actively engage, the richer your experience will be. Remember, learning, much like life itself, is not something you can passively watch from the sidelines. So, how can you become more active and engaged in your learning? Here are a few suggestions. If you're taking this course in person, don't hesitate to raise your hand and ask questions during class. Those taking the course online can start a group chat with their instructor and classmates to discuss any questions. Also, if you feel confident, please offer support to fellow students who have questions, since it can be a great way to reinforce your understanding. Always remember, together, everyone achieves more. But how else can you stay active and be engaged in your learning? Another effective method is to take notes while watching these memory training audio recorded series. Let's take a moment to review what we've learned before we continue with the FAST model, since repetition helps strengthen your memory. In the FAST approach, what do the letters F and A represent? Yes, that's correct. F stands for forget. and A stands for active. Let's move on to the next letter. What do you think S represents? S stands for state. Now, make sure to write this down. All memory is state dependent, which means your memory is closely tied to your internal emotional state, including your feelings and mood. Indeed, every facet of memory and learning is shaped by the emotional state you're experiencing. In the textbook, I emphasize that when information is paired with emotion, it transforms into long-lasting memories. On its own, information can easily slip from our minds, but when infused with emotion, it becomes truly unforgettable. Take a moment and think about the last time you were sitting in a classroom. What were you feeling? For many students, the answer is often boredom. If you are bored in class, do you think your mind and brain will invest time and energy to learn and remember course content? It's no wonder that so few students can recall the periodic table of elements, even though we all studied chemistry in high school, and many are currently enrolled in college-level chemistry courses. If you're feeling bored in class, it can hinder your ability to focus, listen, and retain the information. See, this is the first stage of memory. You encode the information in short-term memory, then store it in long-term memory, and finally retrieve it. If you want to remember information from class, it's essential to encode and store it properly. One effective way to enhance the encoding process is by adding the right emotions to what you're learning, which helps make those memories stick. So, let me ask you a question. Who's in control of your emotions? Who gets to dictate your feelings? It's you, right? If you're wondering how to change your emotions or your mood, you're in the right place. Your textbook offers valuable insights into some of the most effective strategies for managing your emotions. For instance, one technique discussed in Chapter 1 is generating opposing emotions. I encourage you to review that section, but be sure to practice it before attending class or a study session. Here's a quick tip. The fastest way to change how you feel is to change your physiology. Your body plays a crucial role in influencing your psychological and emotional state. So, if you feel bored, move your body to get energized. Once again, let's recap what we learned so far. We learned that the F in FAST stands for what? Say it out loud. Yes, forget. The A in FAST stands for active. Then we moved on to letter S, which represents state. And finally, we have one more letter. The T stands for teach. When you teach someone a concept, you learn it twice. Say that out loud. When I teach something, I get to learn it twice. Let's say that together. When I teach something, I learn it twice. This is why every chapter in your textbook concludes with an assignment titled, Share Your Knowledge. This section highlights essential terms you've encountered in the chapter and encourages you to teach what you've learned to someone else. This concept is known as the explanation effect. When you learn with the intention of teaching someone else, you tend to learn and engage more deeply with the material. This level of motivation pushes you to understand the content thoroughly, ensuring you can explain it clearly to another person. It will challenge you to dive deeper into the topic with questions like, how can I simplify what I learned? Or, how would I put this in my own words? Now, think of someone who would benefit from enhancing their memory. That person can be anyone. I want you to teach that person what you learned. For now, take a moment to review the FAST method so that you can pass that knowledge on to someone else. Remember, teaching it to someone else will help you better learn and remember the subject. Are you ready to embrace the FAST method? Remember to apply it in every learning opportunity. I look forward to seeing you in our next session.